What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. What's up, loves? Welcome back to another episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm super excited to chat with y'all about today's topic because I do not think it is talked about enough when it comes to the whole manifestation community and manifestation world, everything that we are taught about manifestation from the internet and books and all that jazz. But this is something that I have personally experienced and I see in all of the women that I work with. So I wanted to bring it to the podcast to bring it to all of your attention. So just like you've seen from the title of the podcast episode, today we're going to be talking about healing your relationship with receiving so that you can manifest more money, love, abundance, whatever it is that you are wanting to attract and manifest into your life. And in the manifestation community, what you do hear is that there's like so much of this talk of like being open and receptive to receiving your manifestations. Yet it is one of the biggest manifestation blocks that I see in especially women due to like societal standards, societal expectations, pressures, whatnot that have put women in this position of like almost conditioning us to not want to receive or not feel safe to receive in all sorts of ways. But this is huge when it comes to money manifestation and like what I mean when it comes to receiving is receiving in all areas of your life. So a lot of the times when we're talking like just manifestation, we're taught about receiving in this way of receiving your desires, receiving the money, receiving the person that you want to be your soulmate, receiving the job, receiving this, receiving that. But when we take a look at like the average person's day-to-day life, there are so many opportunities to receive that are being pushed away with compliments or support, help, money, directions, whatever it may be, especially when it comes to, once again, what I was saying with women is like support from other people, specifically men, and compliments. The way that we've somehow been conditioned to push off compliments and like almost turn them back around so that you have to compliment somebody else in order to receive a compliment, or that like you can't receive the compliment because if you did, then that wouldn't make you humble, and like all of this bullshit. And this is what I mean by receiving. So something that I would love for all of you listening right now to think about and consider for yourself. If somebody was to walk down the street and hand you a large sum of money, let's say like $1,000, would you be willing to receive it? And would you think that there's anything attached to that? Because majority of people, and this used to be my reality as well, is like, I wouldn't think that I could receive that. I wouldn't think that it was either one, safe to receive it, two, that I was worthy of receiving it, or three, that I could receive it if I wasn't to give something back of equal value. And this is the reality for so many people when it comes to receiving literally anything in their life. Once again, going back to like the compliment example, that they can receive something in their life unless they give it back. So somebody compliments you, you feel as though you can't accept it and you compliment them instead. Or somebody offers you support and you say that you don't need it. And the reason that you may not need it is because like you feel like you need to be a strong, independent woman, or you feel as though you're not worthy of receiving that support. It's not safe for you to receive that support, that you can't ask for support unless you give something to them first. Whatever it may be, whatever you were taught and whatever you learned about receiving is the way that you are either going to take it or push it away in your life. And when it comes to like money manifestation and love, on a conscious level, I think we can all say like, yes, bring it on. I want to receive that. I'm ready to receive it. I want it. But then on a subconscious level, we're rejecting it. And the way that you can tell that you're rejecting it is just like I've been saying with these different examples of like how you are choosing to receive things in all areas of your life. It's not just, oh, well, yeah, like I'll take the paycheck or I'll take $5 extra or whatever it is from somebody else. It's like, are you willing to receive the help? Are you willing to receive the support? Are you willing to ask for the support and then receive it? Are you willing to ask for what you need and then receive it? Or is there something there that is holding you back and blocking you from receiving what you want and what you need because of something that's underneath the surface that is creating that for you? And so I want to give you a few examples of how this plays out. First example is one of my clients. We recognized with her that she was not open and receptive to receiving her manifestations or basically anything in her life. And 1 week, the goal was for her, between one of our calls and the next time we talked, was to receive in every single way that she could. When people offered things, when there was any sort of opportunity to receive support, etc., to receive that support. And we came back the next week to the call and I asked her how it was going. And she told me that she was totally in this position of like being conscious, being aware of receiving. And her roommates one day asked her to go out and get ice cream with her. And they went to go get ice cream. They get to the place. They're like, okay, we're treating you to ice cream. And she was like, no, you're not. And then she paid for everybody's ice cream and did the opposite of receiving. Which is just like such a powerful example of like how small it can be in our lives, where it's like we are not receiving, but also how that has such a massive impact on us then receiving our manifestations. So like being in the position where somebody's trying to buy you ice cream and you won't even allow yourself to receive the ice cream, how can you imagine the universe showing up with the thousands of dollars that you've been wanting, or the love of your life, or the dream career, or whatever it is that you're manifesting into your life right now? Like if you're not willing to receive ice cream as a gift from people in your life, how can you expect to receive the things that you desire? And another example of this for me personally is that I was never receiving any sort of support in my life. I always felt like I needed to do it by myself, and that like I needed to struggle through whatever I was doing in order to be worthy of the outcome that came out the other side. And so when I started to heal my relationship with receiving, I had to break it down into things that felt very manageable and bite-sized to me, because I had created an entire identity around being the person who didn't need help and who could figure it out all on her own. And even if she failed, that she wasn't going to depend on anybody else to pick her back up. She was going to do it herself. And it was so uncomfortable for me to start to receive. And like, tiny example of this, but made me so fucking uncomfortable, is I actively was going through the process of consciously helping myself through this. So I communicated to my friend that I was living with at the time that like I was starting to learn how to ask for support and how to not do everything by myself. And I told her that I was going to be asking her to do certain things for me throughout the week so that I could get in the practice of receiving help and receiving support from other people. And one of the things that I asked her to do was literally just to unload the dishwasher. And it took so much from me to ask her to unload the dishwasher, because my programming and my conditioning said, Kat, if it's simple and you can do it yourself, then you should just do it yourself. But I had also conditioned myself to be so good at doing everything for myself that felt like everything. So although it may sound small and simple, this was huge for me. And this was something that felt, like I said, so uncomfortable to ask for in the first place, because it was like, well, shit, I can do that. So like, why would I ever? Same with like asking when I go home, if my mom is standing up and I'm sitting down on the couch, asking her to grab me a glass of water. So freaking uncomfortable the first few times that I did it, and like the period of time that I was really in this season of building up this muscle and opening myself up to receiving. But I can tell you, through these little things that you start to do, receiving a compliment, asking somebody to grab you a glass of water, asking somebody to help you with something that you don't understand, asking for directions, asking for support physically if you need somebody to carry something for you, or you just want somebody to carry something for you. Any of these things. It's either like you need it or you want it. Doesn't matter. It can be both. It should be both. But putting yourself into the position where you start to do it, because through doing that, making yourself uncomfortable with receiving in ways that you're not allowing yourself to receive right now, you break out of the old conditioning of feeling as though those are things that you can't receive in, and you start to energetically open yourself up and create this new conditioning, this new programming where you know that it's safe for you to receive, that you know that you're supported, that you know that you can be open and not have to have everything figured out and be the one that's always in control and constantly be essentially like manipulating your behaviors and the universe to try and get what you want. And really more so allowing yourself to step into this natural state where abundance wants to flow into your life. This natural universal abundance wants to flow into your life, but that control and that lack of receptivity doesn't allow you to actually then take on and have all of the abundance that is here and available to you right now. And so for me, what I've seen in my life since putting myself into this uncomfortable inner work and growth period where I got to retrain the way that I receive in my life, it's now super easy for me to ask for support and receive support and just receive all of the delicious things that people and life wants to offer to me through being in this energy, as well as it's become so much easier, almost effortless, to receive my manifestations, because there isn't the subconscious beliefs and chatter that is manifesting the resistance to receiving. So what I can say for all of you who are listening to this is, like, if you feel as though you have to work really hard to get your manifestations, or it's like life is this constant uphill battle in order to get what you want, odds are you're not open and receptive to receiving. And the sooner that you start healing your relationship with being open to receiving, then that is not only going to impact the way that you feel in your day-to-day life, the ease and the flow that can come into it through being supported by other people and being supported by the universe, but then it's also going to impact the money that you're wanting to manifest, the relationship that you're wanting to manifest, all of these different things, because it truly is shifting your vibration out of the way that it has been and the things that you've been attracting and manifesting because of these different beliefs and behaviors that you've been conditioned into, and allows you to raise your set point of attraction into a greater vibrational frequency, which is then going to, once again, naturally call more of the abundance and things that you desire into your life. And then also you'll be in the state where you can actually receive them, as opposed to, I believe so many people are in the energetic frequency of what they're wanting to manifest into their lives, but the fact that they're not open to receiving in an easy and effortless and natural way then blocks them from actually having their manifestations. And then it just reaffirms, like, it has to be hard. It's hard work. I have to do XYZ. All of these conditions have to be in place in order for me to receive my manifestation. And like, none of that is true. None of that is true whatsoever. The only thing that is true when it comes to you manifesting what you want into your life is what you believe to be true. So if you believe that it has to be hard, or you have to do it on your own, or that you cannot receive support, or that it's not safe for you, or whatever it is, and like I said, majority of these things are going to be subconscious. They're not going to be things that are naturally just sitting there right up at the surface begging for you to look at them. These are going to be things that pop up in those moments where support is being offered to you, or you want to ask for something but you feel as though you can't, or you need to ask for something and you're choosing not to and putting yourself through some sort of torture to like maintain this belief that is limiting you, because those beliefs are self-fulfilling prophecies. So whether they are supporting you or limiting you, they're going to play themselves over and over and over again, and starting to heal and putting yourself into the position where you're actively, consciously looking for more waves to receive, and sitting with the discomfort that comes up in those moments where you receive the opportunity. That is what is going to allow you to shift your beliefs and your behaviors into something that is going to support you, which then can be this abundant, self-fulfilling prophecy where you're receiving more of the things that you want into your life, as opposed to all of the shit that you don't. And so what I encourage all of you to do is really start to understand why you are not allowing yourself to receive. What subconscious beliefs are telling you that you shouldn't? Is it a worthiness thing? Is it I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, don't need no help, don't need no none of that sort of thing? Is it a fear of failure? Is it like, what is it? And once you can identify that and start to identify like where you learn these things from in the first place, then that is going to help you heal this piece of you that is not allowing you to receive. And one more piece on that, with my example, going back to what I said of like, I became the woman who didn't need any help and like did it all on her own. I never chose that for myself. I learned that. And if you listen to the podcast, you've heard me say this so many times, but everything in our life is a learned behavior or a learned thought. So with that, I learned from my mom to be that woman. She doesn't ask for any support. She doesn't ask for any help. She does it all by herself. She's always doing all of the bits and pieces of what it takes to not only maintain her life, but my dad's and the family's and all of these different things, her workplace. And so I learned to take everything on and not ask for support. And I've seen in my mom's life how that's impacted her in a way that hasn't been supportive. And it's something that she now, becoming aware of this work, is actively working through. And I fucking love that. And for me, it was the same exact thing, was like recognizing, okay, I didn't choose that. I learned that from her, and she learned it from somewhere. And yes, that served me, and that benefited me, and that served her, and that benefited her in some way, shape, or form. And that's why we've chose to continue to carry out that pattern. But does it support me to the highest degree? Does it support me in the ways that is going to allow me to live a more fulfilling and fun and effortless life? Probably not. So that's where the work comes into play. And for me, just like I shared in this podcast episode, it looked like me being very conscious and aware of learning to ask for support and receive support and be more so in my feminine energy, where I just get to be. And through being, naturally receiving more of the things that I desire into my life. And so that is, like I've said a few times, what I encourage you to look at if this podcast episode has related to you, because the inner work of you being able to receive is going to skyrocket your manifestations. And so if this is something that resonates with you, I would love for you to share it with other people in your life so that they can either become aware of the fact that you need support, or maybe it's someone who's in the same exact boat and they aren't allowing themselves to receive support. So please share this podcast episode with people. Share it on your Instagram story, whatever way to spread this word, because the more of us that allow ourselves to receive, the more we can also actually give. We're such givers, but we need to be able to receive in order to continue to give. Otherwise, we just empty ourselves out. So give the gift of receiving to whoever you wish in your life, whether that be one person or your Instagram or whoever. And that is all that I have for you on this podcast episode. But thank you so much for listening. I love you so much, and I'll chat with you on the next one. Oh my gosh, thank you for listening to today's episode. I'm so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.